back in the spotlight tonight as a former tourism minister defends government's original decision to buy the property. This as questions continue to grow over whether the current administration has delivered on its promise to sell and redevelop the struggling resort. Delvado Emmanuel gets us started tonight.
Former tourism minister Dionisio Diagala says the decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan Resort back in 2018 under the Davis administration was not a bad one, but he's now criticizing the Davis administration's current handling of the resort.
We had to give it a push. We had to try. There was certainly in 2018 there was certainly investors who were interested, and we signed a deal. I remember signing it.
Former tourism minister Dionisio Diagala defending the Minutes administration's decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan, saying at the time there were credible buyers at the table and the sale agreement had already been signed before the COVID-19 pandemic derailed those plans. The Minutes administration purchased the Grand Lucayan Resort in Grand Bahama for $65 million in 2018 to prevent its closure. But speaking with our News following the Free National Movement's campaign launch Saturday, Diagala, who was the tourism minister in the last Minutes-led administration, says the original purchase was a risk worth taking.
I admit, and we were going to sell it, and we had a deal in place, and obviously COVID came along and scuttled that deal. But over 4.5 years, they say they sold it twice, and we have not seen any results from that.
Back in May, the Davis administration in grand style signed a $120 million agreement with Ancient Waters Bahamas Limited, a subsidiary of Concord Wilshire Capital, for the sale and redevelopment of the Grand Lucayan Resort. But since then, there has been no movement. When asked to comment on the Davis administration handling of the project, Diagala had this to say.
The government's handling of the Grand Lucayan deal has been peppered with optimism that hasn't brought any results. We haven't moved forward. We're still owned by the government. It's still losing oodles of money.
The former tourism minister arguing Grand Bahama's recovery hinges on attracting a major investor capable of delivering the kind of development needed to revive the island's tourism product.
Grand Bahama doesn't have an anchor hotel. You need an anchor hotel. You need something substantial. You need significant investment to create a destination. That's what Grand Bahama needs.
Reporting for our News, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
All right, thanks so much for that, Delvado. Dozens of Pit Road families could soon get clear title to their homes, and more than 60 acres of land in Exuma being set aside for affordable housing. The Davis administration tabling 2 land resolutions in Parliament this morning, both involving property currently vested in the Treasury. Housing Minister Keith Bell saying the Exuma resolution will transfer the land to his ministry for a structured multi-phase residential development in Georgetown. The second resolution targets 3 acres in the Pit Road community, which he says developed organically over the years, leaving dozens of Bahamian families without the legal certainty they deserve.
This is the work of responsible governance. It's the work of addressing long-standing challenges while also planning for our future. Yes. It is the work of ensuring the development is exclusive, structured, and beneficial to the Bahamian people. And of course, you heard the Honorable Member for Angleson say, Mountel is next, yes. Mountel Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, housing is fundamental to the stability of families, yes, and the strength of communities. Through these initiatives, this government continues to make practical steps to expand access to land, to regularize existing communities, and to create new opportunities for home ownership across our islands.
And the country recording 2 deadly police-involved shootings over the weekend, the most recent happening just after 1 a.m. in the Village Road area. That's where police say a man in his late 40s was fatally shot by an off-duty officer. According to investigators, the officer was walking south along Village Road when the victim, who was driving in the opposite direction, exited his vehicle armed with a cutlass and allegedly attacked him. Chief Superintendent is Sharia King.
Shortly after 1 this morning, an off-duty officer was walking south on Village Road. A male in a vehicle was traveling north on Village Road. that male driver exited his vehicle, armed with a cutlass, came up behind the off-duty officer, hitting the off-duty officer in his back. The off-duty officer pulled out his service-issued firearm and fired shots in the direction of that male driver, fatally wounding him.
And when asked whether police-involved shootings is becoming a troubling trend, the chief superintendent acknowledged those concerns but issued a strong warning to the public, emphasizing that officers are trained to respond to threats and will defend themselves when necessary.
It is concerning. However, I would say this, as I always say in police-involved shootings. Police officers are trained, very trained and skilled. Please do not engage the police. If you engage the police, then police will defend themselves.
All right, and we'll have more on that earlier police-involved shooting coming up in our news at 7:30. A 29-year-old man accused of trying to abduct a preteen girl on Lazaretto Road, now also facing child pornography charges. Prosecutors say Isaiah Seymour allegedly tried to pull the child into his vehicle on March 10th, but the girl fought him off and escaped. Police also alleged officers found sexually explicit videos involving a girl under 18 on Seymour's phone. Seymour pleaded not guilty to the child pornography charge before Magistrate Abigail Farrington. He was not required to enter a plea to the attempted child stealing charge, which will be tried in the Supreme Court. Bail was set at $9,500 with conditions including weekly check-ins at East Street South Police Station and electronic monitoring. That matter has been adjourned to June 22nd. And one woman's dedication to increasing awareness of gender-based crimes in the nation, leading her to start a campaign, Women Walk. On Saturday, she successfully organized her second march, guiding a group of women and men through the streets of the capital, advocating for the voices of victims not to be ignored. Danielle Miller was there.
This gathering on Clifford Park is an intentional beginning to a faith-based walk geared towards issues many women face nationally. Dozens of women and men beginning their Women Walk 2026 journey at Clifford Park. The group, marching against domestic violence, proceeded along Marcus Bethel Way, down Bay Street to Parliament Square, on to Shirley Street, and then returning to the park. There were 9 press stops along the way. Organizing chair Candice Weish says after several reports gripped headlines back in 2024 involving women and girls, she created Women Walk.
After the death of Adrian Moxie and Miss Phoenicia Butler and Latasha Roll being beaten on the bus stop, I just felt like we got to do something.
While she had no personal connections to the victims, she says she believed everyone in the country experienced their pain and felt a level of outrage.
The country was gripped by it, and I said, no, we can't just let this pass by. This is not normal. This should not have happened.
She admits she felt apprehensive before last year's inaugural march, but says she's grateful for its success.
It's a big call. Last year, we had over 200 people that showed up to that call, but it was a risk. It was a faith walk, and God showed up. And so I didn't do it alone. I have a great team and a great church, and Oak Tree Medical Center as our title, and other sponsors came on board because they saw the vision and they saw it was necessary.
Her goal is to raise more national awareness through this campaign.
I envision Women Walk growing and developing into public service announcements. We're actually writing them now, and it's going to be called Baby That's Not Normal. And we are going to take the lid off of incest and rape and domestic violence on the air.
Reporting for our news, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, thanks so much for that, Danielle. We've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is in the Weather Center. Ian?
Thanks, Candino, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Monday evening forecast with just gorgeous conditions on the outside. 76 degrees under clear skies. Feels like at 73. Winds from the east-northeast at 6 miles per hour. Across the country and our nation's second city, Freeport, we have 74s continuing in Allenstown, Bimini, 76s in Nicholstown, the capital, Great Harbor Key, and in Governor's Harbor, Luther, 75 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Central Bahamas, those 77s continuing in Kemps Bay, Black Point, and Deadman's Key, Long Island, 76s in Georgetown and Port Nelson, Rum Key, a pair of 74s in Arthurstown and Coburn Towns in Salvador. Southeast Bahamas, we have 77s continuing in Duncantown and Abrahams Bay, as well as Providenciales, Turks and Caicos, 75 in Colonel Hill, 76 in Delectable Bay, Acklands, 78 in Matthewtown in Agua. Satellite and radar composite at this time. High pressure remains large and in charge, just dominating stable conditions across our area. We do have some clouds streaming across the central and portions of southeast Bahamas. Not much concern in terms of precipitation. Stick around, we'll tell you all about this straight ahead.
Coming up in sports, Devon does it again. At this point, the 60-meter hurdles at World Champs should just be called the Devon Charlton Invitational. Also, I feel like she needs a championship belt. We'll work on it.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
Meet the voices who want your vote. Coming to the RTV lineup, Candidates Catalog, a show that throws political heavyweights and newcomers into headline-grabbing challenges. Join Megan Shepard as she dissects candidates' promises, pasts, and personas. Candidates Catalog, where strategy collides with conscience. Only on RTV.
From the K-9 unit to the precision movement of officers on the parade, to the boys in blue hair on the SWAT team, to the police canteen, to the legal department. Join me, Jasmine Brown, over the next few weeks as I continue my annual Police Month series, where I'll take a look at several divisions within the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You can catch the stories on R News starting at 7 p.m., as well as log on to the R News social media pages.
For more than a century, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has been the face of law and order.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. The GOAT acronym is thrown around a lot these days, probably too much. But this has to be the one issue we can all agree on. Devon Charlton, the greatest 60-meter hurdler of all time. A few years ago, she joined the list of the all-time greats. Now, she stands alone. Charlton won an unprecedented third consecutive World Athletics Indoor Championship title in the women's 60-meter hurdles, matching her own world record of 7.65 seconds in the final. Devon, of course, grabs the headlines, and rightfully so, but Team Bahamas also had several other strong performances over in Poland. The Bahamas placed 2 Olympians in the women's 60-meter hurdles final. Denisha Cartwright finished 7th in a season's best 7.90 seconds. Charisma Taylor just missed a spot in the final by hundredths of a second. She clocked a personal best 7.91 in the semis. After 3 days of competition, well, it was closer to 3 months of competition, but it culminated at trials. High stakes, high drama, spots for Carifta 53 on the line. Let's start with new qualifiers. Ethan North qualified in the under-20 boys javelin, and in the under-17 boys, Zion Bradford got the 200-400 double and became the first 400 qualifier in the process. Look, I know it's our job to understand information, disseminate that to the public, but I'll be honest, this tennis stuff, very tough to follow. We'll give it a shot anyway. Recently ousted Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association executives are pushing back against what they called an unauthorized meeting. That'll do it for our sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as 2 pilots are dead after an Air Canada express jet slams into a fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport. What investigators say went wrong. Plus, a partial U.S. government shutdown now impacting air travel, with federal officers deployed to keep airports moving. And markets react after Trump says a deal with Iran could come this week, even as Tehran denies talks are happening. The story when our news returns.
For more than a century, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has been the face of law and order. Established in 1840 with only 16 men, it's become one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the country, employing hundreds of police officers. They've not only fought crime, but also built safer communities. And this March, in honor of Police Month, join me, Jasmine Brown, every week as we introduce you to the brave men and women who risk their lives every day to keep us safe.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic. Follow these simple rules. Leave early, obey road signs, wear seatbelts, invest in hands-free devices, and don't drink and drive. I'm Inspector Gerard Cum of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, reminding you that road safety is no accident.
It's more than a podcast. It's a movement. This is Breaking the Silence with Junior Clovis, where conversations we avoid finally have a place to breathe. Every story, every struggle, every breakthrough is brought to light, unfiltered and unspoken until now. Join us this Sunday at 2 p.m. as we confront the topics that matter, share real experiences, and change the conversation around mental health together. Watch, listen, break the silence.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Every week, one show drive.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. 2 pilots are dead and dozens of people hurt after an Air Canada express jet collided with a fire truck while landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport late Sunday night. Authorities say the CRJ-900, operated by Jazz Aviation, was arriving from Montreal with 72 passengers and 4 crew members on board. Jazz Aviation and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey confirmed the captain and first officer were killed. Air traffic control audio captured the moments before impact, with a controller repeatedly shouting, "Stop," as a fire truck was crossing the runway. Officials say the truck had been responding to a separate in-flight emergency involving an odor on another aircraft. Flight Radar 24 data shows the plane was moving at about 24 miles per hour when it hit the fire vehicle. The crash forcing the closure of LaGuardia as investigators now work to determine how the aircraft and emergency vehicle ended up on the same runway. U.S. immigration agents now being deployed to more than a dozen airports across the country as staff shortages among unpaid security screeners triggered major delays for travelers. Lisa Bernhardt reports.
Arrived at more than a dozen U.S. airports on Monday as absences by unpaid TSA workers caused massive delays.
It's crazy. It's insane. I mean, I've never seen an airport like this.
The move comes 2 days after President Donald Trump threatened to send the Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents who are not specifically trained for airport security. As of Saturday, Absences reached 11.5% of the approximately 50,000 TSA security staff, the highest level since a partial government shutdown began 5 weeks ago. The Department of Homeland Security on Monday confirmed it had started deploying hundreds of ICE agents to airports in New York, Newark, New Orleans, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Phoenix, among other cities. Reuters sources said that for now, ICE personnel will not be used in areas behind security checkpoints because they lack the specific clearance needed. ICE has played a central role in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, drawing criticism from many Democrats, civil liberties advocates, and immigration advocacy groups. On Saturday, Trump said in a social media post that the activities of ICE agents at airports would include, quote, the immediate arrest of all illegal immigrants who have come into our country.
My first thought, and I think my first reaction was, who are they going to throw to the ground? There's no closure still on what's been happening with ICE. So, it's kind of confusing, in all actuality, on how you should feel. And you should feel safe in an airport, for sure.
Democrats have held up funding for Homeland Security while demanding a change in rules governing its operations after ICE agents shot and killed 2 U.S. citizens, sparking public outrage. Meanwhile, Homeland Security said that more than 400 TSA workers have quit since the start of the partial government shutdown on February 14th, adding that resignations and call-outs are expected to significantly increase as the partial shutdown drags on.
And President Trump says the United States is in contact with a respected Iranian leader and claims a deal to end the war with Iran could come as early as this week. The comments come as the war enters its 4th week with more than 2,000 people killed and global oil prices swinging amid fears of disruption to one of the world's most critical shipping routes, the Strait of Hormuz. Trump also extended a deadline for Iran to reopen the strait by 5 days or face possible strikes on its power plants. Iranian officials quickly denied any talks had taken place, calling the claims fake news aimed at manipulating energy markets. Trump says a potential agreement could include Iran giving up its enriched uranium. Meanwhile, Turkey and Egypt say they are actively working to mediate between the sides as regional powers push for de-escalation.
We eliminated their air force. We eliminated all of their air defense, everything. We eliminated everything there is to eliminate, and we eliminated them. We eliminated their leaders. We had the first set of leaders. They're gone. Then they met, 88 people met. And it's sad. I mean, it's sad they couldn't have made a deal. We could have made a deal with them a long time ago. Then the second set, 88 people met to pick a new leader. And they're now extinguished. And then they're meeting again, but now nobody wants to be the leader. It's one of the few political jobs that nobody wants anywhere in the world. Nobody wants it.
Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was March 23rd. Then in our news at 7:30.
A GoFundMe account has now been created for that pipe worker killed in that police-involved shooting, as his pregnant wife now left to pick up the pieces. I'm Delvado Emmanuel. Stay tuned to our news for the full story.
When our news returns.
Emmanuel, stay tuned to our news.
One show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
Conflict doesn't have to end in chaos. Before it escalates, take a breath. Step back. Choose peace. Listen to understand. Respectful conversations lead to real solutions. I am Sergeant 3599 Johnson of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, urging you, let's talk it out, not fight it out.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to the environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1928, Governor Charles William James Orr approved legislation to establish a modern water supply and sewerage system for Nassau and its suburbs, laying the groundwork for today's Water and Sewerage Corporation. Then in 2013, officials responded to a third oil spill at Borco on Grand Bahama, with oil found along a breakwater near pipelines at Pinders Point. And in 2021, the Ministry of Health reported more than 6,000 Bahamians were fully vaccinated against COVID-19, with over 50,000 doses administered nationwide. If you want to learn more about the events that shaped the day that was March 23rd, head over to rnews.bs. And of course, that's where you will find all of today's top stories. And remember, you can share your favorite stories right from the R News Bahamas Facebook page. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. But up now is Atalia Hall Thomas with the latest headlines. Atalia?
Happy Monday, Ken.
Happy Monday.
Back here again. I was here on the weekend.
I was going to say, I did see you on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday.
And I know that's because we knew Megan was headed home,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, another week coming up. Government borrowing $280 million to help Grand Bahama power woes. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our news live at 7:30, a family in mourning.
A GoFundMe account has now been created for that pipe worker killed in that police-involved shooting, as his pregnant wife now left to pick up the pieces. I'm Delvado Emmanuel. Stay tuned to our news for the full story.
Plus, changes to the education system under review, with leaders calling it a pivotal moment for early childhood learning across the country. And later, conflicting accounts emerging tonight as parents of accused students at a Grand Bahama school speak out following an incident that left an 8-year-old girl injured. The story when our news live at 7:30 returns.
Too many suffer in silence, but silence only protects the abuser. Your feelings are real. Your safety matters. It's time to break the silence. If someone is hurting you, speak up. We will listen. We will help. I am Police Constable 4286 Sinead Douglas of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Let us build safer communities together.
Candino Notes here, and thank you. Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the R News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall-Thomas. While a young family's future shattered tonight, we're learning more about the American fatally shot by an off-duty officer over the weekend. The Pike Electrical worker's family and friends rallied to support his pregnant wife. The incident now drawing widespread attention, with the National Security Minister responding. Our Delvado Emmanuel reports.
A GoFundMe account has now been set up for American electrical worker Cody Castillo. The Crawfordville, Florida native leaves behind his wife Michaela, who was expecting their first child this August. The two had been married just 1 year. Now, instead of preparing for the arrival of their baby boy, Michaela is now preparing for a life without a husband. The online fundraiser created to help with funeral costs and living expenses has already raised over $20,000 in just 2 days. The incident happened Saturday evening outside the Plantation restaurant off West Bay Street. According to police, an off-duty officer was at the location when an altercation broke out. Investigators say during that incident, the Pike worker got into his vehicle and allegedly drove toward the officer. The official police report says the officer, fearing for his life, fired a single shot, killing the expecting father. This is not the first tragedy linked to that area, as the establishment owner was shot and killed back in 2018. Meantime, the GoFundMe page painting a picture of the young couple, just starting their life together. It describes a love story cut short, his wife Michaela now left to grieve while preparing to welcome their son alone. And as news of the incident spread, social media went in a frenzy with tributes. With this Facebook user writing, "Evil world we live in, man, gone way too soon." Another person posting, "Cody was always a great guy to be around." And this poster says Cody's happiness was contagious. Saturday's incident is one of 2 police-involved shootings, the latest happening early this morning near Montague Motors. Police say a suspect allegedly wielded a cutlass and struck an off-duty officer, prompting the officer to fire shots in response. That man died on scene as well. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe telling reporters outside of the House Assembly that while officers have the right to defend themselves, every case will be reviewed to determine if any charges are necessary.
It will depend on the threat that faces you. It's governed by what is justifiable force set out in the penal code. And so, as I say, the police will investigate. If they find that there's cause to levy criminal charges, they will levy criminal charges, as they did, for instance, against the police officer who shot and killed a young man in Exuma. If there isn't any case for criminal charges, then they forward it on to the coroner.
Now, we've reached out to Pike Electric for comments, but up to news time, got no response. However, Bahamas Grid Company, via its social media page, said they're deeply saddened by the loss of one of its Pike team members. Reporting for our news, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
All right, thanks so much for that, Delvado. Well, legislation aimed at improving early childhood education along with replacing the decades-old Education Act was debated in Parliament today. Policymakers calling the compendium of bills a pivotal moment in the nation's history. Our Joshua Williams reports.
Parliamentarians debating with education officials say is legislation geared towards reshaping education nationwide, along with the careful monitoring of youth programs. The first, the Education Bill 2026, once passed, will repeal the Education Act of 1962 and its various amendments over the years up to 1996. So exactly what will change? Education Minister Glenys Hanna-Martin explains.
This legislation modernizes the legislative framework by introducing updated definitions, strengthening governance, expanding compulsory education, formalizing national curriculum standards, adding homeschooling regulations, enhancing accountability mechanisms, and aligning educational administration with contemporary global practices. As I said, it replaces the 1962 Act, which focused primarily on foundational governance, school registration, and minimum education standards.
Then there's the Early Childhood Care Commission Bill 2026. In addition to lowering the compulsory school age from 5 years old to 4 years old, she says it'll address the absence of a centralized authority dedicated exclusively to early childhood development, along with proper training and qualifications for caregivers and educators.
This bill represents groundbreaking legislation designed to enhance the governance, regulation, and management of early childhood care and education in the Bahamas. While it repeals the Early Childhood Care Act of 2004, It retains and modernizes most of its provisions and introduces significant reforms to ensure the highest standards of care and education for children from birth to 5 years old.
But it's not just about education. Seconding the compendium of bills, Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Boleg, his focus was on the National Youth Commission Bill. It too will establish a commission chaired by a National Youth Commissioner, overseeing the implementation and coordination of programs and initiatives aligned with the National Youth Policy. And while the opposition says they support improvements in education, Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright making this point.
This is a government who has spent $280 million on consultants. $280 million on consultants. Couldn't some of that, a good majority of that, gone towards some of the challenges faced in the education system in our country and helping our teachers in continuing education and so forth? I'm sure the member for Angliston would say that she could have used some of that $280 million, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Well, more on that story of an 8-year-old Grand Bahama girl left with a sprained arm and a cast following an alleged bullying incident at a primary school in West Grand Bahama. As the story continues to unfold tonight, some of the parents of the boys accused are also calling for the truth and a proper investigation.
Children's lives are now being threatened because they are being labeled as bullies. That's a strong word. You know, for children to carry that stigma in school, especially children who have never been in any trouble.
It started with this. Sylvia Taylor claimed her daughter Divine, a second grader at the Holmes Rock Primary School in Grand Bahama, was injured by 2 older students in a second bullying incident at the school. The child was treated at a clinic for a sprained arm. Her mother says she's met with school officials and police. When contacted by Our News, the principal declined to comment, even though we understand the school administrators say they are addressing the incident. Now, the parents of the boys accused say they are seeking answers, alleging their children are being wrongly implicated with their own allegations and claiming there may be more to the story. They stress this is not about placing blame, but about ensuring truth comes to light. They also claim the matter has been reported to police and urging a thorough and fair investigation. Warren Hepburn, the parent of one of the boys involved, maintains his son's innocence, claiming there was a rush to judgment.
As opposed to trying to figure out exactly what happened. It's too much at stake to just make such harsh judgment. We have the bus driver who may potentially lose his job.
Parent Gabrielle Hepburn says she's heard differing accounts of the incident and believes it's important to consider the impact on all of the kids involved.
Don't just come at us and attack us because you believe your daughter. We get that. But we believe our kids too. And we want the truth. We want to get to the bottom of it, just like anybody else would, you know. And anybody else who has children, if anybody came to you and just accused your child of being a bully and then spreading it all over the news, how would you feel?
This parent, Felice Heel, saying she too wants a fair process.
I sympathize with the mother, but we have to be careful with the words that we say. We have to be careful as parents how we react when things happen, you know. A lot of emotion, I feel, was being used instead of logic.
Now, we did reach out to police in Grand Bahama for an update on this matter. However, up to news time, there's been no response. Switching gears, hot temperatures to start off the work week. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is in the Weather Center with your first look. Ian.
Thanks, Natalia, and good evening again, Bahamas. Currently outside our studios, clear skies, 76, gorgeous conditions, feels like at 73, winds from the east-northeast at 6 miles per hour. Across the country at this time, satellite radar imagery, just gorgeous conditions, all courtesy of that high pressure system, just stationary across us, stable conditions, cool air, and the winds are beginning to fall off. Stick with us, the extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come in our news, a major investment aimed at stabilizing electricity on Grand Bahama. This as the government secures millions of dollars to address ongoing power challenges on the island, plus a sea of red filling the room on Saturday. This as the Free National Movement kicks off its campaign ahead of the general election. And an evening of elegance and high fashion. This as a luxury fashion house reveals its newly redesigned boutique at the Bahama Resort. That's all coming up when our news returns.
Meet the voices who want your vote. Coming to the RTV lineup, Candidates Catalog.
a show that throws political heavyweights and newcomers into headline-grabbing challenges. Join Megan Shepherd as she dissects candidates' promises, pasts, and personas. Candidates Catalog, where strategy collides with conscience. Only on RTV.
From the K-9 unit to the precision movement of officers on the parade, to the boys in blue hair on the SWAT team, to the police canteen, to the legal department. Join me, Jasmine Brown, over the next few weeks as I continue my annual Police Month series, where I'll take a look at several divisions within the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You can catch the stories on R News starting at 7 p.m., as well as log on to the R News social media pages.
For more than a century, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has been the face of law and order. Established in 1840 with only 16 men, it's become one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the country, employing hundreds of police officers. They've not only fought crime, but also built safer communities. And this March, in honor of Police Month, join me, Jasmine Brown, every week as we introduce you to the brave men and women who risk their lives every day to keep us safe.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic. Follow these simple rules. Leave early, obey road signs, wear seatbelts, invest in hands-free devices, and don't drink and drive. I'm Inspector Gerard Cum of the Royal Bahamas.
It's an effort to solve Grand Bahama's power problems. The Davis administration forming a new company, the Grand Bahama Energy Company Limited, is the entity through which the government is trying to acquire the Grand Bahama Power Company from its majority owner, Emera Incorporated. We learned in Parliament today the company will borrow $280 million through a consortium of banks led by Standard Chartered Bank for the acquisition of all the ordinary voting shares of the Grand Bahama Power Company. It's proposed that the remaining $80 million will come from the Royal Bank Bahamas Limited for capital. Grand Bahamas Minister Ginger Moxie, telling parliamentarians today it's another step in removing the barrier to reliable electricity in the second city.
High power costs distort every calculation. They affect whether a family can save. They affect whether a shop owner can take on another worker. They affect whether a manufacturer can expand production. They affect whether a young person sees Grand Bahama as a place where a stable future can be built. That is why the issue before us today must be treated as part of a wider program of economic renewal.
Well, a wave of red flooding the Bahama Convention Center Saturday night as supporters poured in for the Free National Movement campaign launch. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
From the moment the doors opened, energy filled the massive ballroom at the Bahama Convention Center as hundreds of red-wearing, pom-pom shaking and flag-waving supporters filled the room, leaving standing room only. The excitement building by the second, and for many, there was only one way to describe what was happening inside.
Listen to me. The temperature is rising. The heat is getting hotter and hotter, baby. Come on down to Bahama right now.
And that energy didn't waver throughout the night. Longtime supporters proudly standing on their loyalty. Some say their connection to the party goes back generations.
I hail from Long Island, Clarence Town, and I'm doing this for my mother. I know that she's smiling down on me tonight. I'm here with my daughter, my granddaughter, and we decided that we are going to put on the F&M cloth tonight to show our support for our party.
But beyond the music and movement, there was also a clear message coming from some in the crowd, a desire for something different.
Well, I support Dr. Fox because Dr. Fox and everybody deserves a chance, and we and Fox are tired of the same old what we have with the PLP. So we working with Dr. Fox this time in Foxville. Again.
And with that mix of excitement and expectation, supporters leaving no doubt they're sticking with their party. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Coming up in sports. Okay, so that's it. The debate is over. Devin Charlton, unequivocally the greatest women's 60-meter hurdler of all time. We got highlights from Carifta trials, and then we get into another story where the debate will never end. Local tennis.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest-running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to the environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. 9 seasons strong, and we're just getting started. This is On the Record.
Too many suffer in silence, but silence only protects the abuser. Your feelings are real. Your safety matters. It's time to break the silence. If someone is hurting you, speak up. We will listen. We will help. I am Police Constable 428 Sinead Douglas of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Let us build safer communities together.
Do you think you know domestic violence? Think again. It is not just physical.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. The GOAT acronym is thrown around a lot these days, probably too much. But this has to be the one issue we can all agree on. Devin Charlton, the greatest 60-meter hurdler of all time. A few years ago, she joined the list of the all-time greats. Now, she stands alone. Charlton won an unprecedented third consecutive World Athletics Indoor Championship title in the women's 60-meter hurdles, matching her own world record of 7.65 seconds in the final. Dominant from start to finish at the meet, she ran 7.74 seconds in the semis, which was then a world-leading time, before delivering a nearly flawless race when it mattered most. Charlton's indoor championship resume is unmatched. In 2022, she won silver in Serbia, broke through with gold and the world record in 2024 in Glasgow, gold again last year in Nanjing, and now legendary status. Devin, of course, grabs the headlines, and rightfully so, but Team Bahamas also had several other strong performances over in Poland. The Bahamas placed 2 Olympians in the women's 60-meter hurdles final. Denisha Cartwright finished 7th in a season's best 7.90 seconds. Charisma Taylor just missed a spot in the final by hundredths of a second. She clocked a personal best 7.91 in the semis. Taylor doubled back in the field and finished 14th in the triple jump at 13.11 meters. In the men's heptathlon, Kendrick Thompson finished 10th with 5,776 points, and Taj Brown was out in the heats of the 60-meter hurdles in 8.30 seconds. After 3 days of competition, well, it was closer to 3 months of competition, but it culminated at trials. High stakes, high drama, spots for Carifta 53 on the line. Let's start with new qualifiers. Ethan North qualified in the under-20 boys javelin, and in the under-17 boys, Zion Bradford got the 200-400 double and became the first 400 qualifier in the process. As for a few returning medalists, in the under-17 girls, Jose Johnson stole the show with 3 wins in the 100, long jump, and triple jump, while Kiezra Thomas doubled in the 200 and 400. Those high stakes we talked about played out in the under-17 boys octathlon. Justin Shepard won a close battle, Ashley Demert finished 2nd, and last year's Carifta bronze medalist Cameron Henfield finished on the outside looking in. Look, I know it's our job to understand information, disseminate that to the public, but I'll be honest, this tennis stuff, very tough to follow. We'll give it a shot anyway. Recently ousted Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association executives are pushing back against what they called an unauthorized meeting. In a statement, they claimed that a recent gathering held on the outskirts of the National Tennis Center and called an extraordinary general meeting was not properly convened and any decisions made carry no legal or constitutional weight. At that EGM, the former board, led by President Perry Newton, was dissolved and a new one elected, led by Marvin Roll. Those former execs also raised concerns about unlawful access to the National Tennis Center and noted that the matter remains before the courts. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. The pressure's really on now. We got to figure out a way to properly recognize Devin. We all love Joan Canoe. We all love a good Walk of Fame portrait, but she just raised the stakes. It's a good thing she did this during the season of empty platitudes. Get what you want.
Still ahead on our news tonight, an evening of elegance and high fashion. This as a luxury fashion house reveals its newly redesigned boutique at the Bahama Resort. And Ian is back with your extended weather when our news returns. Stay with us.
Bing bang bing. Bing bang bing. Bing bing bang. Bang bang bang. Bing bang bing. Bing bang bing. Bing bing bang. Bam bam bang, bing bang bing, bam bam, bing bang bing, bing bang bing, bing bing bang.
New roads and airports are connecting our islands. Energy reform is bringing electricity prices down, while young Bahamians are stepping up, gaining new skills for new opportunities. Respect for workers, support for entrepreneurs. We're modernizing energy and infrastructure across our islands and preparing Bahamians to succeed in a new economy. Transformations this big take time. Let's choose progress.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24 hours after the body of 12-year-old was discovered on a track road on Faith Avenue, police say they...
You get the most comprehensive half hour of news.
Breach of the party's constitution. That behind me is what remains of the Victoria Court apartment complex.
Our news at 7 brings you that truth in all of the day's top stories, sports, and our view of the world. Join me, Kendino Knowles, weeknights for our news at 7. Stay with the team you already trust.
Got that crispy onions crunch, take a bite, it's a smile. Sweet onion sauce drip, happy running down my side. Pepper jack cheese, bring a little playful wild. Brioche bun soft like a cloud on this ride. Oh, let's get chicky with it. Hey. Taste the sweet side of things. Every single bite, so litty. Got my whole crew doing their thing. Crispy onions.
Do you think you know domestic violence? Think again. It is not just physical, emotional, financial, or sexual abuse, and it doesn't discriminate.
This is our news weather segment. Welcome back, everyone. Taking a look now at extended forecast, but first we're going to look at our satellite and radar composite. No showers, clear skies, high pressure. We expect these conditions to persist into about mid to the end of the week. All depends on which portion of the country you're at. We do expect some shower activity popping up across portions of the central and southeast Bahamas, possibly by about Thursday, Friday. Take a look now at our boating forecast across the northwest Bahamas, where we had those persistent swells, and they still continue to linger. Winds are falling off east to southeast 10 knots or less, seas running 1 to 3, but up to 5 feet in those swells. High tide at 12:25 a.m. tomorrow, low tide at 6:26 a.m. tomorrow morning. Central and southeast Bahamas, those winds are northeast east 10 to 15, seas 2 to 4, but up to 5 feet offshore in those northeasterly swells. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, like I said, high pressure will persist across the area. We do expect a cold front to just clip our area, produce a few showers, clear out. Another one, much stronger one, expected to enter our area later in the week behind that strong high pressure. So you boaters, you want to pay particular attention. By Saturday evening, have your boats docked. Swimmers, do not try to get in the water after Saturday and into the next week. Those temperatures are going to be struggling to get into the low to mid 80s, with those low temperatures struggling to get out of the 60s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
All right, thanks so much for that, Ian. Well, it was a night of elegance and high fashion at the Bahama Resort Friday evening as a high fashion brand unveiled its redesigned boutique in a larger, more luxurious space reflecting its growing presence here in the Caribbean. Our news anchor, Candino Knowles, reports.
A wave of elegance taking over Bahama Friday evening as Bulgari officially reopened its newly renovated boutique. And in true Bulgari fashion, it was bold, glamorous, and impossible to ignore. Guests stepping into a space both modern and luxurious, now larger, more refined, and designed to immerse shoppers in the full Bulgari experience. The boutique features an expanded leather and accessories selection, along with a brand new VIP room, all adding to a more elevated and personalized touch. Sleek finishes, glowing displays, and an atmosphere nothing short of stunning. The reopening brought together key partners including John Bull and Bahama, along with Bulgari's commercial director for the Caribbean and Latin America, Lucayan, who says the moment marks more than just a new look.
So we're also celebrating more than 20 years of presence in the market, which has been always accompanied by our valued partners at John Bull, with Bahama, and of course our clients.
Cameo says this isn't just about expanding a store. It's about telling a story, one that ties Bulgari's legacy to the Bahamas.
We're able of connecting like the values of the heritage of our brand with all the historic and cultural legacy that the Bahamas has.
For longtime partner John Bull, the reopening is also a major moment.
Over the years, we've occupied a smaller space, giving our customers a great experience, but this offers them a better experience.
And as the doors reopen in style, Bulgari makes it clear its presence in the Caribbean isn't just growing, it's shining. Reporting for our news, I'm Candino Knowles.
All right, thanks so much for that, Candino, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall-Thomas. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.
Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already